Hello, it's Sunday evening. Welcome to another episode of Andy's Shed Live, this time for Sunday the 15th of November 2020. I hope you're all well this evening. Something quite strange has just happened. Something that I wasn't expecting, so I'm going to be telling you that in a few moments time. Hello to Christopher 2000 in the chat. Hello to Jimmy Myers, who's also there. There's one or two other people in there as well, but I just can't see who's in there and who's not at the moment because I'm looking at it on my phone. I'm just switching the chat over to the live chat. So hello and welcome to the show. And I believe we should also be live on the website page as well. I think on the live page on the website, and if you want to go to the website, of course the website is here, andyshed.corepress.net. It's going to be getting an update soon. Honest, I know there's a lot of videos that aren't on there, but we are going to put them on there soon. Honest we are, governor. We most certainly are. Right, has anybody been following the listing for the phone that has just ended on eBay a moment or two ago? There was a strange war phone on eBay. The listing ended dead on 6 o'clock tonight. Right, it got to a minute to 6. I pushed. It got to a minute to 6. The bidding on it, on this very strange war phone. I've never seen a war phone like it. A very strange shape, made by ATE apparently. The bidding got to £99. I put in a bid of £310 and got outbid on it with 5 seconds to go. So somebody really wanted that. The question is, what was it? That's what we'd like to know. What was it? Dominic's here as well. Evening, Dominic. So shall we have a look at that listed and see if we can figure out what it was? I will try and get it up on here for you. Just bear with me a moment while I try and figure this out. See if I can do it. I'll try and show you it. Don't know if this is going to work or not. We'll have a go. See if I can show you what it was, because it was something quite extraordinary. So we'll have a look. What's to say? Just logging into eBay, you know how it is. Right. I've got look. Here it is. Right, if I can get this into the software, hopefully. We'll be able to see what it was. Just bear with me a sec while I try and sort this for you. top of that like that. Right, okay. Right, we now should be able to show you it. I hope that's worked. Not sure why it flickers like that, but it does for some reason. Right, is it still flickering, folks? No, it's not flickering now, is it? But there it is. There it is. You see, one with a £320 bid. Somebody won it with a £320 bid. You can see there. So let's have a look at what it was. Where is it? Where's it gone? Here it is. Right. So here's what it said in the listing. It said a very rare 1960s vintage GPO wall mounted telephone in perfect working order. One of the rarest of the rare. I bought the instrument in original packaging over 40 years ago. I had never seen one before, nor since. The packaging was tatty, so I reboxed it, stored it in the loft, only to retrieve it in the 80s to convert it to PSTN. I've been unable to find it in any details of this instrument in either ATE or ATM lists. It's based on a GPO 711 circuit, so it's based on 706 circuit as well, and it's complete with a very substantial wall bracket. So, what is it? Let's see if we can get a better picture of it up on the... So, there's a photo of it. I'm just waiting for things to catch up. So there's a picture of it, and there are one or two other photos of it as well. So you see, you can hang the receiver on it like that, as you can on a 711. There it is laid down. There it is with ATE logo on the bottom. Other side of it, top, the dial, which looks like a standard sort of GPO-ish dial with a standard GPO-ish sticker in the middle of it. The back of it, no clues on the back as to what it is, not that I can work out anyway. There may be a little clue here if you can see that. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it looks like there might be something written on it just there. Can you see that? Sort of on the right-ish, where my mouse is. Can you see my mouse now? Maybe something written there. There it is with the wall bracket on, and then we turn it that way up like that, and you can see inside it. Then you can see it looks very sort of 700 series-ish on the inside. And it's got what looks like a fairly standard regulator board in it, but of course not in a standard place. And there is the wiring diagram for it, although that is upside down. But I can't see any induction coil in that. Can't see any induction coil in that at all. And because I can't see an induction coil in it, I am led to believe that it may not be for the GPO, because the GPO wouldn't have gone with a phone that didn't have an induction coil in it. So what I'm thinking it is, in around about 1961, the GPO asked various companies to design prototypes for what would become the war phone, what would become the 711. At that time they were calling it the 707, but it would eventually be the 711. And the GPO went to various companies, asked them for prototypes, and they made prototypes. Now I've seen a prototype that Ericsson did. I've seen a prototype that GEC did. I know by April of 1961 ATE had also done a prototype, but I've never seen it. I'm wondering if that's it, or not the actual physical phone itself, but if that's the design, and when it didn't get selected, ATE then used it later in the 60s as a wall phone. Maybe they were using up bits that they'd already cast, and they used it on their PAX systems as a wall phone because it's only got a numbered bezel. It's not got a numbered and lettered bezel. And it's also later than 1961 because it's got the chevrons in the bezel as well, the little arrows in the bezel, in the back plate rather of the dial. So I think that's a phone from about 1965, 1966-ish, using a failed ATE design from 1961. That's what I think it is. But ATE already part of Ericsson by then, so around about 1964 they became more corporate. They were left to do their own thing, but they were part of Ericsson and also Plessey. By then, I believe they'd all come together, Ericsson, Plessey and ATE and that. Around about 1964ish, it all became more corporate. So an ATE design was probably then sort of thrown in the bin, and they used Ericsson and Plessey designs and that. So that's probably why you've never seen one before. But we think that's what it is. We think it's something to do with that. So we didn't get it, and I thought I was going to get it at that. I thought putting in 3 times what the bid was up to with 5 seconds to go, I thought I'd get it. So I'm very, very surprised. Somebody was willing to pay a lot of money. Somebody had put a bid in before me, obviously, and left a very high bid on. I wonder what they would have bid up to. I wonder what they would have gone up to. I wonder if they'd have gone up to 500. Right, I'll just check out what's happening in the chat. Oh, Fat Hobbit's here as well. Oh, Fat Hobbit. Dominic says that looks like a privately supplied phone looking at the bezel. Yep, that's just what we've said, isn't it? I totally agree, Dominic, but I wonder if it was originally a GPO design that didn't happen. Like I say, for the 711. It is certainly a privately supplied one because it's got no induction coil in, and the GPO would not have put a phone out without an induction coil. Claus is here as well. Evening, Claus. Dominic says the 711 looks a lot better than that thing you've just shown. It's got an odd, almost egg shape to it. Yeah, it's really strange, isn't it? But there were some strange designs around at that time. There were some of the other designs for the trim phone that never happened were equally peculiar. So yeah, so it's a strange one, but yeah, we've never seen one before. Probably never see one again. I wonder who won it. It wasn't any of you lot that won it, was it? Right, we'll carry on, shall we? We didn't get that, but we have had an arrival this week. Shall we call it an arrival? Yeah, we'll call it an arrival. So I'm just adjusting my cameras. Yeah, we have had an arrival this week, although it wasn't that, obviously. Moving things out of the way for a moment. Of course, what has arrived this week at the other end of the scale on eBay was this. A GPO 232, basically. Strange because it's got no markings underneath it at all. It's a refurbished one, I think, from the 50s or 60s. Because it's got no drawer in the bottom of it either. It's just got a blanking plate. So it's a refurbished one from the 50s or 60s. I think it's a late 50s, early 60s refurbish, possibly. But I'm not sure exactly. But there it is. Now this is the other end of the stupid scale on eBay, from the phone that went for £320. This is the other end of the silly scale, because this one, how much do you think I paid for this? Go on, have a guess in the chat. Right? No bits out of it. Perfectly good, good spit cup on the mouthpiece and that. Perfectly good. It was on open sale on eBay. Have a guess. Go on. Go on, Jimmy, Dominic, Fat Hobbit, Claus, have a guess. Christopher, have a guess. In Great British pounds, what do you think? They've all gone quiet. They've all gone quiet. Nobody wants it. Oh, Fat Hobbit is guessing at 50 quid. Claus is guessing at 20 quid. Any advance? Any advance? Right. Jimmy, you want to have a go, Dominic? They're not going to risk it. I'm going to put my poker face on. I'm not going to say who's right at the moment. Dominic says 15 quid. You're the closest, Dominic. That sold on eBay for £10.50 this week. So I thought that was quite a good deal for £10.50. I was told it wasn't working. The guy that I bought it off said it did work, but now it doesn't. So I thought, well, not be much wrong with it, will there? So I got it here. Shall we see if it does indeed work? Shall we? Right, I'm just detangling it. It's got a modern plastic line cord on it, and as you can see, so it's already got a line cord on it. I'm not going to fit a line cord to it. Let me now, oops, things are falling apart here. Let me now plug it in to 23 on my switch. I'll leave it that way around so you can see me dial on it. So we'll go, shall we? I've certainly got a dial tone. So we'll go 23. I'm an idiot because this is 23. I'll go 21. It seems to ring another phone. Hello, hello, hello. So we have to sort of blow into one, listen in the other. So you go, well, I can hear things on it. And yeah, it works. It does indeed work. Does it ring itself when I ring another phone? Let's try picking up another phone and dialing 23. And let's see if it rings. It does indeed. So there you have it. It definitely works. So that's rather good, isn't it, for £10.50? I thought that was quite good for £10.50. So it works. We'll have a look inside it in a moment. Christopher 2000 says, I found out N1900 phone has a bezel with numbers and letters. I sent a picture in the email. Basically, the N1900, you could have anything that you wanted. If you were a company that bought a load of N1900s to run on your PAX exchange, you could have whatever bezels you wanted. Normally, people only had numbers on the bezels. But you could have an alphanumeric one if you wanted. Now, I've never seen one with an alphanumeric bezel on it, but the question is this: how do you know the bits haven't been swapped since? Because generally they only had a numeric bezel. I'm not saying nobody had them with an alphanumeric bezel, but it would have been fairly pointless because you couldn't dial the letters on a private system, because you had to have to dial something like a 9 first to dial out. So I'm wondering if the bits have been swapped, but you certainly could have them alphanumeric, the bezels, if you wanted to, but as a rule of thumb, if it's got an alphanumeric bezel, it's a GPO one. If it's got a numeric only bezel, it's a private one. And that goes for Ericsson and GEC who made them, and everybody who made them. I mean, this one that I've got on the desk here, if I move that to one side a moment and move this one in, this is the one that sits on my desk all the time. I believe, I'm not sure without opening it up, but I believe this is a GEC one. It doesn't tell you anything on the bottom of it, there's nothing written on the bottom of it at all. But I believe this is a GEC one, but it's exactly the same to look at as an N1900 would have been, the black N1900. But you could get them in all colours as well, the N1900s. You know, and I've got them in black, grey. Grey was very common. Fairly sure I've got an ivory one somewhere. And you could get other colours. I've seen the green one. I don't know if I've got a green one or not. Stashed away somewhere. I've seen blue ones. Can't say that I've seen a topaz yellow one. What are the red? Yeah, there are red ones. I've seen pictures of red ones, but I've not seen one in the flesh. But you could get them in all colours. Dominic says, did you see the email showing the 26 and my other telephones I have? I saw the Bellset 26, Dominic. Yeah, what I'm going to do is quite a few people have sent me pictures this week, so I'm going to sort of get them all together, and we'll do a roundup of everything that people have sent on next week's show. I'll get them all together into a sort of gallery thing, and we'll do it on next week. We'll have a little roundup. So if anybody else has got any pictures that they want to send in, or if you guys have sent some already, if there's anything else you want to send in, we'll do a picture roundup of what people have got and what people have been restoring and stuff on next week's show. Because I've had some more that people have sent just over the last sort of 24 hours or so, and I have to sort of ingest them into this playout system before I can show them to you. But yeah, cool. But yeah, Dominic's got his Bellset sort of, well, it's in a sort of little cupboard, isn't it, Dominic? High up sort of thing in a cupboard, which I thought was quite a good place. I can see how it would have survived there. Right. Christopher says you can get an N1900 in yellow. He's seen one. Right, so it's the only colour I've not actually seen a yellow one. But I'm assuming that you could have got them in yellow because I've seen all the other colours. But yeah, yellow, the topaz yellow as they call it, that's an interesting colour. I've always been told that for the GPO, so I'm not talking about the N1900s here, I've always been told that the GPO, for their 700 series phones, the rarest colour was blue, was Concord blue. But from what I've seen in collecting them over the years and doing them up for people, I've seen far more Concord blue ones than I have topaz yellow ones. So I personally think topaz yellow is the rarest colour. I've seen a lot that look topaz yellow, but when you look at them closer, they're actually ivory ones that have done the yellowing thing with the sun. So there's a lot that look topaz yellow but were actually ivory, and genuine topaz yellow ones I've not seen many at all. I think I've maybe got half a dozen topaz yellow ones. Falby says looking forward to seeing the pictures next week. Yeah, I'm going to get them all together, so if you've got any yourself, send them in to me. By the way, the website that was down last week is now working again. If anybody's not got the email address for me and stuff, I don't give it out on here because otherwise I'd get loads of spam. But if you go onto the website, andyshed.coldpress.net, fill in the contact us form on there, I will then email you back with an address that you can then send pictures to. So it's working again now, the website, andyshed.coldpress.net. It is working there. Fat Hobbit says, it would be great if you could escape the shed, do a tour of Barrow Hill Roundhouse, Andy. Yeah, I've been there. Whereabouts are you then, Fat Hobbit? You must be somewhere nearby if you know about Barrow Hill Roundhouse. Yeah, I've been to Barrow Hill Roundhouse. It's a few years since I've been there. It's probably changed a bit since I last went. But of course, with all this coronavirus business, everything's shut down at the minute, so you sort of can't go anywhere at the moment. But yeah, I can put that on the list of things to do. Probably when they have a special event. Hopefully next year they might have some special events and things when we get all this lot sorted out. But I have got more coming from the Chesterfield Canal soon. If you watched the video on the Chesterfield Canal 2 or 3 weeks ago, there are more instalments of that coming, just as soon as I can get out there on a day when it's not tipping it down in rain to film them. Christopher says, did you get the picture I sent to the PMG 802 and 801 phones? Yes, they're on the list as well, Christopher. Albert says he's not near Chesterfield, but he has visited the museum about 7 years ago. It was great. Yeah, that's probably when I went. That's probably when I last went to Barrow Hill Roundhouse. About 7-8 years ago, something like that. So yeah, I'm due a revisit. Might have to do Barrow Hill Roundhouse and see how they're getting on with things down there. Right, shall we have, while we are here, shall we have a look inside this phone, inside this 232? Right, I'm going to unplug it first while we have a look inside it. Find out where I plugged it in. And I'll plug my other phone back in so I don't forget it, because I do that all the time. Right, so we'll have a look inside this 232, shall we? It's got a very strange cord in that. This has got what they would call a grebe cord on it, which the very first, the very first 706 has had a cord similar to this. And it's a sort of cloth covered cord, sort of woven. But I think this one feels a bit thick, and I think what this actually is something that somebody's bodged on, and I think it's an old switchboard cord that somebody's bodged onto it, because it's not terminated correctly at either end. I can pull this end out of here, and the wires are there, so it's not terminated correctly, because this should be tied in. There should be like a bit of what looks like a bit of bootlace around the end of this, and then that should be tied inside to sort of hold it in, act as strain relief as they call it. But I just pushed it in to make it a bit neater there. So shall we have a look what is inside? Right, we'll grab a screwdriver when I can find it. Yeah, right, I've got my screwdriver. There we go. By the way, do you like my restored screwdriver? This was a really manky screwdriver earlier this year, and I restored the handle. That you couldn't see through the handle of this, and what I did, it was all covered in paint and stuff. I scraped the paint and that off, gently sanded it, which made it sort of completely opaque, smoothed it out as much as I could, and then I varnished it with yacht varnish, and that brought the shine back to it and made it transparent again. So I did quite a few of these what they call amber handled screwdrivers. Of course, it's not real amber, it's plastic, but I did quite a few of them earlier this year. I did some other coloured ones as well. There's a red one I did. It's a bit bigger. In fact, I might use that one, so it's a bit bigger, that one. It's got a number 4 on it as well, a proper screwdriver size on that one. Right, so the 232 you turn over, and of course, you get these phones from India, very, very good copies of 232 because they are using the original molds in India. But over the years, what's happened is in India they have made some modifications to them. So if you want an easy way of telling if it's an Indian phone or a genuine British one of the ways is this. Look underneath and you'll see screw holes holding the feet on. If the screws that hold the feet on also hold the base on, it's an Indian version of a 232. I'm not going to say it's a copy or a fake because they were using the original molds and that, and some of them are quite old. But if the screws that hold the feet on also hold the base on, it's an Indian one. If you've got separate screws like this to hold the base on, it's a genuine UK one. So in best Blue Peter tradition, I'm doing this sort of upside down and backwards way on so you can see it. Isn't that a 332, not a 232? You're quite right. Is it? Yeah. I think you're right, Christopher. Yeah. It's me that's saying it wrong. I'm getting my 3s and my 2s mixed up. Yeah. You are right. It is a 332. Or something similar to a 332 because they have slightly different numbers for slightly different variants of it. But we think it's a 332. I mean, it may not have, again, it may not necessarily have been a BT one. It's strange that there's no markings on the bottom of it. But I have seen them with this sort of grey painted base before. So we'll go inside it and we'll have a look. See if we can get any clue as to what it is. But you are right, it's a 300 series, not a 200 series, because it's been a long day basically and I'm an idiot. Yes. Right, here we are. So another way you can tell a British one and an Indian one, if you take the base off and all the innards are mounted in the phone, it's a British one. If however the innards are mounted to the base plate, it's an Indian one. Okay, so there's the base plate, nothing mounted to it, no clue on it. It looks like it's had a diagram on there at some stage that's been peeled off. That's unfortunate, but what do you expect for £10.50? So here it is. Here's all the gubbins inside it. It's got one of the square capacitors, and that seems to have got a date or something on it. ATE, strike again. It's all about ATE tonight, have you noticed? ATE 10 something something. Can you see that on there, on that sort of oblong capacitor? ATE 10 something something. No idea what though. No idea what. So it's ATE. We've discovered it's ATE. Now what there isn't in here, the eagle-eyed of you will have noticed. Oh, there is. I've just seen it. I was going to say there isn't a resistor in, but there is. It's just a very tiny one. But it's there. Can you see that resistor? So that's the resistor. So it has been correctly converted for the modern UK system. The innards of the phone have been out, obviously, because that screw is down there, but this one here, it's not loose, but it's not screwed in properly either. So let's screw that in properly. Oh, it's all just gone clunk and fell into place. So we'll now screw that in properly. it's all there now as it should be. So it's an ATE example from the 50s, I would say. I'm looking at what's written on the capacitor and what's written on the induction coil rather, but I can't see a date on it. So yeah, but I'd say this is a fairly late. Now with this being ATE, I'm wondering if this was a GPO one. So I'm not sure. It's certainly got markings on the handset that look a bit GPO-ish, but I don't know what they put on their own ones. I don't know if they use GPO handsets on their own ones. So there we are. There we sort of have it. Right, somebody's sending me messages. Just bear with me 1 second. Don't know who it is sending me messages. No, it's all right. It's just it's not who I thought it was. So it's okay. All right. I'll get back into the chat so I can see what you guys are all saying. Chris says his 312 looks similar to your 332. Yeah, they do. All the 300 series sort of are similar. Now I can't just remember off the top of my head what all the 300 series numbers were, but they had slightly different numbers for phones for slightly different users. Some for like party lines, and some that had redial buttons and all this sort of stuff on. So they did use slightly different numbers for the generic 300 series, but I'm just wondering if this might not be one that was used for the GPO, because if it was GPO one, I'm fairly sure it would have had something written on the back of there, on the base of there, and this hasn't, and doesn't look as if it ever has had. So I'm wondering if this is one that ATE supplied on one of their pack systems when they weren't supplying very expensive and very strangely shaped war phones. So yeah. So here we are. As you can see, it's also got a line cord that's been made up. A black line cord with a 700 series grommet on the end of it. So what I will do eventually, I will probably fit a correct cloth line cord to this. Again, it should tie in inside here to act as strain relief. In fact, there's a bit of the old cloth cord where it was tied in there. That's part of the tie from an old cord that's been cut off. So one day I'll put a new cloth cord on, and I'll recover this black one with the 700 series grommet and put that on a black 700 series phone. So it all looks pretty good. You can see the two slightly different bells there as well. If you look very carefully, you will see the edge of this one is thicker than the edge of this one, the rim, because they give a slightly different tone. One is a number 2, and one is a 2A, and the idea is that when it rings, it gives that, it like plays a chord almost sort of thing, rather than just ringing one note. Don't know if I can ding them so you can hear them different. Let's see if I can do it. So the thicker one makes a higher pitched tone. If I stop them ringing, so listen. So this is the thin one, which will be the lower pitch, and this will be the higher pitch, the thick one. And of course when it rings it all goes together, so you get very quickly, and that's what gives it that distinct British ring, the fact that they are actually different bells. Somebody was asking me this week, they said the clapper doesn't move between the bells on their phone. If the clapper doesn't move, it means the bells are probably twisted round, the bell gongs have twisted round. These screws, the holes that these screws go through, are very slightly off centre. So if there isn't enough room for the clapper to move, or if there's too much room and the clapper doesn't actually hit the bell gongs, what you have to do is just loosen these slightly, turn the gongs round to where you think they should be, tighten it up again, and it'll probably work. That works on 700 series as well. It's exactly the same idea. But as this is fully working, I think we'll put the base back on it again. And you can see inside there, you can see the separate nuts on the back of those machine screws that hold the feet on. So we'll stick that back on for now until I get around to changing the line cord on it. Where if I just put my screwdriver again. Right, things are falling everywhere at the moment. I've got so much stuff in here at the moment, it's unbelievable. Right, so we'll do these screws up again with my newly restored screwdriver. Doobie-doobie-doo-doo. Doobie-doo-doo-doo. Actually, a few weeks ago, I went out and bought a little bench grinder out of Screwfix. I think it cost 20 quid out of Screwfix. It's got two stones on it, one that's more abrasive than the other, you know, fine one, a very coarse one. Brilliant for refinishing ends on screwdrivers. You know, we've all got screwdrivers with gnarled up ends, haven't we? And it's brilliant for putting a nice fresh, clean, correct end on a screwdriver. You know, screwdrivers that you would have thought were fit for the bin are now perfectly serviceable again. Right, I put that back together. Would you like to have a look in the handset while we're here? There's not a great deal to see in the handset. The earpiece sort of screws off, and then it's one of those slidey diaphragms that you have to slide off. Do not drop these onto here. You should always slide these off. Some of them do have a thing written on them that says slide on and off, or worse to that effect. And there you can see the coils and that make it all operate in there. So we'll slide that back into place very carefully. And we'll screw this back on. This has just got a tiny nick out of it, just there. I don't know if you can see that. It's got just a tiny nick out of it. But in general, this is in really good condition, because what happens, the spit cup thing on the other end, this often gets chunks out of it, and this hasn't. This is perfect, this one. Now this just twists a little way and comes off. There you can see the sort of microphone element that you can lift out. There's no wires actually physically attached to it. These were also used in very early 700 series like this as well. And there you can see how it fits into the phone. One side of the connection goes to that centre pin there, and that centre pin in the phone, in the handset there, and the other side of the connection goes to this metal outer ring, and that is made by these two connections here. So you have to put that back on sort of as central as you can get it over that central pin, and lock that on like that. But yeah, it's pretty good. I'm quite pleased with it, and it is a GPO one, because it's, well, I assume it's a GPO one because it does say GPO on the handset. It says PL30 something, and it says GPO number 164, and then underneath it says 234. Now 164 is handset 164, isn't it? But I don't know if I can get that under the camera and then I can refocus the camera. You should be able to read it if I can get it in the right place. Right. Can you read that if I tilt it into the light a bit? So it's GPO on the left there, 164 on the right, it says 234 at the bottom, and I think it says PL 34, or is it 24 at the top? I can't quite read that. But there you have it. That is the handset, and pretty darn good condition really. Quite pleased with that. Right, we'll get that back in focus like that for you. So that is the phone that arrived this week. So I'm quite pleased with that. That can go sort of on the shelf awaiting a new handset cord probably, or a new line cord rather. I think new line cord. Probably leave that handset cord on that it's got, sort of greeby one. So yeah, quite a nice phone really. I'm quite impressed with that. So right, what has everybody been saying in the chat? Where do you get your cloth line cord from, Andy? Says Fat Hobbit. Right, there are various dealers who sell them. They are quite expensive. This is the plaited cord. That's basically normally it's three cloth covered single conductor wires that are plaited together. There are various dealers that sell them, that make them new. You can buy them on eBay, roughly around about 20 quid-ish or something like that. But the cord that they're made out of, you can buy a big drum of it for about 30 or 40 pound. So basically cut 3 lengths off, or 4 lengths depending on how many conductors you need up your cord, and then you can plait it together yourself. Boom, 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 boom. You put a little bit of cotton round each end to sort of fasten it at the ends, and you sort of bind it with cotton at the ends, and hey presto, you've made a line cord, and a lot cheaper. So I will probably end up doing it that way. I will probably end up getting the individual cloth covered wires on a big drum, and then sort of cut 3 or 4 lengths of it and plait it together myself. I'll probably do it that way. So if I do it that way, I'll do it on here so you can see what I'm doing. Dominic Meakin says, what pre-grouping railway most interests you? Right, Dominic. That's an easy one, because there's an absolutely classic one that used to run right by here. Pippa the dog's come to say hello. Hello, Pippa. The Lancashire, Derbyshire and East Coast Railway. How about that for an answer? Which neither went to Lancashire nor the East Coast, but it ran very close to me here. Through the old, what they call Bolsover Tunnel, a tunnel which has long since been filled in, almost. The story there as well. But yes, there were some strange escapades. It was a line that was being built basically by one man, who basically wanted a way to get to the seaside, I think. And he used the excuse it would carry coal traffic, but he had a little loco built, I think was called Gazelle, and it was a very strange little steam loco. It was sort of part steam loco and part early motor car.